It seems like just yesterday we started the 2021 championship here in Dubai. But we've already raced 10 times and we've got 3 clear favourites. Jahan Daruvala from India, the Chinese driver Guan Yu Zhou, and Pierre-Louis Chauvet, who took his 5th victory of the series. In a few moments, we'll take a look at the highlights of race 1 held yesterday afternoon.
欢迎回到我们的直播现场，即将进行的是国际汽联亚洲 F3第11回合的比赛。在昨天的比赛当中呢，虽然周冠宇以杆位发车，但是非常遗憾的没有获得冠军。乔维继续扩大了自己在积分榜的领先优势。今天呢，会由曼尼来领跑，就获得了 P1 的发车位。那么首先呢，让我们先回顾一下昨天的精彩集锦。
Well, thanks, Pauline and Ian. And this is what happened in yesterday's race. And it all happened here at the start. And Pierre-Louis Chauvet from 2nd position went down on the inside of Zhou Guanyu. There he is in the blue-nosed car, getting into the front. And that's where he stayed for the entire race. So really the drama. Zhou Guanyu tried to fight back on the first lap, but it wasn't to be. The Frenchman held him off and went all the way to the checkered flag, which was actually finished under a safety car. Now, Patrick Pasma in the fairly distinctive blue and pink car started from P7 and went all the way up to 3rd. He had a great start. In fact, it was slightly too good to be true because he cut over the track limits and was penalised, so he finished in 3rd spot behind these two. There he is, Patrick Pasma, just having a little issue with the brakes there. He crossed the line in 3rd position, but then was penalised that 1 place, so finished in 4th. And it was, in fact, a Yuma Iwasa of Japan, Red Bull Junior driver, who has took the 3rd and final podium position yesterday, and he also won the Rookie Cup race victory. So Pierre-Louis Chauvet is the championship leader, and he scored his 5th win in 10 races. So he is now 22 points clear at the front of the field. This was a later moment for Alexandre Bardinot, which brought out the safety car, and that is how the race finished. Slightly disappointing for drivers and fans alike, but it didn't make too much difference to the order. Pierre-Louis Chauvet taking the victory from Zhou Guanyu, and Ayuma Iwasa promoted up into 3rd place because of that penalty to Patrick Pasma. Now, Kushmaini, who had a gearbox issue, classified at the bottom of the field. He had to come into the pits on the very first lap. Managed to get it sorted. Wasn't classified because he only completed 7 or 8 laps of the entire race, but managed to set the fastest lap around this Dubai Autodrome circuit. And that means that he starts today in pole position. So 5.39 kilometers in length, this circuit here. And the drivers by now pretty familiar. This is the 5th race of the season around this circuit. And the 2 long straights leading into turn 1 and turn 10, that is where you might expect to see overtakes. But we haven't seen a whole lot so far, certainly not this weekend. Fairly tricky in these cars and around these circuits to be passing all over, but we have a pretty interesting grid. Patrick Pasma, despite that disappointment of getting bumped out of the podium positions, starts also from the front row of the grid. So he's in position number 2, ahead, just behind Kushmaini. So we're either going to see some overtakes or we're going to see a new race winner. Now let's hear from Kushmaini, who was talking to Ian ahead of his pole position.
Kushmaini, you know the saying, every cloud has a silver lining. Into the pits on lap 1 with a gearbox issue, but you went back out, set the fastest lap of the race, and now you're about to start on pole position.
Yeah, you know, the last 2 rounds we've been having engine issues, so it hasn't been ideal, but all credit to the Mumbai Falcons team. They never stopped believing in my pace and my ability, so we got that engine changed, but unfortunately we had to start from the back of the grid. And then obviously had a few issues, but at the end of the day it all worked out well because we've got pole. Just got to put our head down now and get that first win.
So the championship obviously out of reach, but this is your best opportunity to go for a race victory here in the Asian Championship. What is your approach down into turn 1?
Well, just get a good launch, and the reaction time, obviously it's a very long run down to turn 1, so it's going to be interesting, but just got to brave it out, really.
It's as close as we'll get to a reverse grid, mixed grid, but the car's obviously quick. Yes, you did finish race 2 some laps down, but when you did put in the lap, it was quicker than anybody.
Yeah, I think with the engine change, our pace is back to where it should be. And obviously the championship's out of reach now for me, so I'm just going race by race. And anyways, it's a winter championship, and I've learned so much, and I've sharpened my skills before my main series. So in that view, I'm really happy to get this opportunity. Obviously, it hasn't gone the way we wanted it to, but that's life. We learn.
Best of luck, Kush. We'll be watching you down into turn 1.
Thank you.
And as we saw yesterday, it's all about that long run down into the right-handed turn 1 when we get underway. Now, Kush comes from a fairly respected driving family. His older brother Arjun is here as well. He's just less than a year older than Kush. Also here in Dubai, racing in the Asian Le Mans Series. You can see that on the banner above the track, the 4 Hours of Dubai. And so the brothers will be supporting each other, and their uncle founded what has now become the Mahindra car company, one of the biggest electric car companies in India. So fairly disappointing season so far for Kush Maini in terms of results and championship points, but he has a fantastic chance today for his first race victory. Now, his Mumbai Falcons teammate Jahan Darivala very much in the championship race. He is in 3rd position. He just went down into 3rd position, edged out after yesterday's race by Joe Guan Yu, who has 159 points to Darivala's 156. So just 3 points between those two. So the mechanics just putting the final touches to these cars, and a few people just milling around on the grid, soaking up the atmosphere. Now, if you are new to the F3 Asian Championship, it's time for you to meet some of the drivers. Let's see who they are and who they're racing for.
Hey, I'm Dino Meganovic. We're here in Dubai for the F3 Asian Championship.
Hello, I'm Alexandre Bardino. I'm here for the Asian F3 Championship.
Hi, I'm Amna Al-Kubaisi from the United Arab Emirates, and I'm attending the F3 Asian Championship.
Pierre-Louis Chauvet racing here in Dubai in car number 3.
Hi, I'm Lorenzo Fluxa from Spain, racing in the F3 Asia.
I'm Jimbo Bassi from Turkey, racing in the F3 Asian Championship.
Hi, I'm Casper Stevenson, I'm from England.
Hi, I'm Roini Sani from Israel, racing for High-Tech GP in the F3 Asian Championship.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hadja, coming from France, racing in the Asian F3 Championship this year.
Hi, my name is Matthias Luton, racing in the F3 Asian Championship for Pinnacle Motorsport.
Hi, I'm Risu Shijima, and I'm racing with High-Tech Grand Prix in the Asian F3 Championship.
Hello, my name is Rafael Villagomez.
Hi, I'm Roman Stanek. I'm 16 years old from Czech Republic. I'm racing for the High-Tech GP.
I'm Iwasa from Japan.
I'm Zdenek Chovanec. I'm from Venezuela and I race in the F3 Asian Championship.
Hi, I'm Guan Zhou from Shanghai, China. I'll be competing in the Formula 3 Asian Championship.
Hi, I'm Jahan Darivala from India.
Hi, I'm Kush Maini from India, racing for the Mumbai Falcons in the Asian F3 Championship.
Hello, I'm Irina Siderkova from Russia.
Hi, I'm Alessio Deledda from Italy, racing in F3 Asian Championship.
Hi, I'm Roberto Faria from Brazil. I'm racing the F3 Asia.
Hi, I'm Nicola Marinangeli from Italy, racing for F3 Asia Championship.
Hi, my name is Patrick Pasma from Finland. I'm racing in the Asian F3 Championship.
Patrick Pasma, the last man to introduce himself there, will start from the front row of the grid, but in position number 2 because it's Kush Maini who starts in pole position. A lot of Mumbai Falcons fans tuning in from India. Good afternoon to you there. thanks for joining us here. And it is definitely an exciting moment for that young man. Now we have 21 drivers on the grid, 15 nationalities, and 15 of those 21 are just 20 years of age or younger. A handful of 16-year-olds as well. So this really is a window into the future of top-level motorsport here, and several drivers with definite, realistic hopes, I would say, of making it to the ultimate goal of Formula One. Several of them already racing in the Formula 2 Championship, including China's Zhou Guanyu, who just this week announced that he would be joining up with the Virtuosi Racing team for his 3rd straight season. He's finished 7th and 6th in his first 2 seasons with F2. And dropping down here to a level below to the Asian F3 Championships to try and get some of those vital points to get his super license, which of course you need to get into Formula One. And he's currently the Alpine F1 test driver, so he's pretty familiar with the likes of Fernando Alonso and so on. So the grid is clearing. We're just moments away from the formation lap, and all of these races here in the F3 Asian Championship, 30 minutes, so pretty quick. We got in 15 laps yesterday, although we did finish under the safety car, so perhaps we might be able to squeeze an extra one in if we are at full pace for the entire duration. Kushmaini will start from pole position ahead of Patrick Pasma. Then Zhou Guanyu, who is 2nd in the championship, starts on the 2nd row of the grid alongside his main contender for the title, Pierre-Louis Chauvet, the 18-year-old Frenchman who leads this championship with 5 wins from 10 races, including wins in 4 of the last 5 races. So he is in absolutely phenomenal form, even though he starts from position number 4 today. And this start is going to be very, very interesting. Then on the 3rd row of the grid we have Jahan Durivala, who is 3rd in the championship. 16-year-old Roman Stanek starts in position number 6. Then comes Ayuma Iwasa and Roy Nassani on the 4th row of the grid. Roberto Faria and David Vidales on the 5th row. All the way back down to Khaled Al-Kubaisi on the 11th and final row of the grid. And you may have noticed from those driver introductions, we do have 2 female drivers as well here. Irina Sidorkova from Russia and Amna Al-Kubaisi from the United Arab Emirates. So the entire championship has been compressed into 5 weekends spread across 4 weeks, so 15 races in all to make it convenient. We started here in Dubai, then we went down the road to Yas Marina for rounds 2 and 3. Each round, of course, comprised of 3 races. Back here for round 4 in Dubai, and then next weekend we will finish things up back again in Yas Marina. So they're all pretty experienced around these 2 circuits. Patrick Pasma, in fact, was racing here in 2018 as part of the MPF Challenge, in which he finished 3rd in that series. And Pasma is also pretty familiar with the championship leader, Pierre-Louis Chauvet. Both of them have competed in the Formula Regional European Championship. That was last year, with Pasma getting the best of Chauvet. They finished 4th and 5th, respectively, with the Finn driver in 4th position. But it is absolutely Chauvet who is setting the pace here in the F3 Asian Championship. He had a fantastic start yesterday. Zhou Guanyu from pole position didn't get away badly, but he just left enough room down the inside for Pierre-Louis Chauvet to come charging through, and Zhou tried to hit right back a few turns later, but he wasn't able to do it, and so that is how they stayed. It looked as if Chauvet was pulling away at the start of the race, but they were very, very close, less than a second and sometimes less than half a second between the front two drivers for almost the entirety of the race, but no real opportunities for overtaking. Joe didn't quite get close enough to give it a crack. So the start of the formation lap as Kushmaini leads the field away. Now we'll just be able to recap the field for you ahead of the standing start when they form up again. And you see the GT Tyre logo in the top right corner of your screen. They have two sets of tyres across the 3 races, so a bit of strategy there. So Kush Maini and Patrick Pasma, then Zhou Guanyu and Pierre-Louis Chauvet on the second row of the grid. Darivala and Stanek complete the 3rd row. In 7th position, Ayuma Iwasa, who got the Rookie Cup win yesterday alongside Roy Nissany. Then Roberto Faria from Brazil, alongside the Spaniard David Vidales. 6th row of the grid sees Cembol Bati from Turkey. A lot of his fans always tuning in, alongside Reese Ushijima. Then come 16-year-old Alex Connor and Lorenzo Fluxer, also 16. Rafa Villagomez and Nicola Maranangeli. Alessio Deleda and Amna Al-Kubesi on the 9th row of the grid. Then Arina Sidorkova and Alexandra Bardinot, who had that DNF yesterday. Well, he was classified, but he had to pull out of his car after contact late on in the race, and then Khaled Al-Kabesi in the 21st and final position for today's race. The number 77 car of the Italian Nicola Maranangeli. And that is the pole sitter, Kushmaini. He'll be trying to stay calm, think through his strategy. He'll need to get away cleanly. Patrick Pasma had a fantastic start yesterday. And as I mentioned, if you saw the highlights earlier, it was a little bit too good and he was penalised a place. But he started from 7th and then went up into 4th and then up into 3rd, which is where he crossed the line. But he got a penalty for cutting one of the corners on the first lap. So he'll want to be wary of doing that again. But he will absolutely rate his chances of getting his nose in front as we go into turn 1. So Kushmaini and Patrick Pasma competing from the front row of the grid, but you have to keep your eyes on both Zhou Guanyu and Pierre-Louis Chauvet on the 2nd row, and really any one of those 4 you think could be the early leader here. But let's see how things turn out. We've only had 3 race winners across the 10 races, with Chauvet winning 5, Darivala winning 3, and Zhou Guanyu winning 2. In fact, those were the first 2 races of the entire season right here in Dubai. So this is a circuit that the Chinese driver likes. And it looks like Bardinot may not be forming up here. I'll give you confirmation of that as the race gets underway. Possibly some damage left over from the crash that he had and the contact and spin late in yesterday's race. So the lights will come on, the red lights, and once they're off, we are away here at the Dubai Autodrome. We are off here, and Al-Kubesi at the back of the field looks to have stalled. Let's hope that doesn't bring out the safety car. Kushmaini into first place, Patrick Pasma right behind him, trying to make a move. And will he get round him as we go into turn 1? They are neck and neck here. Maini's going to keep it, and Pierre-Louis Chauvet has edged past the Chinese driver Zhou Guanyu to take 3rd position. So some drama here early on, but Kushmaini crucially has stayed in the lead as Zhou Guanyu again tries to come right back, but he hasn't done it. That was the battle that they had yesterday. The difference is they were 1st and 2nd. Today they are 3rd and 4th. Kushmaini with a textbook start. Pasma was right there, keeping the pressure on, and Zhou Guanyu is doing everything he can to get up into the top 3 spots. He'll be bitterly disappointed to lose a place to Chauvet, his main rival for the championship on yesterday's start and again today. But Kush Maini doing pretty well, and some movement back there with what looks to be Roman Stanek trying to put pressure. Oh, nearly contact there at the back of Zhou Guanyu's car. Avoided just in time, but a very solid start. And Zhou Guanyu goes through on the inside. Can he make it stick? He can. Oh, and a problem there for Chauvet. He's lost 2 spots, possibly a third here. Well, the Frenchman's going backwards, but that is opening this championship right up. Zhou Guanyu passed Chauvet, but then lost a place as well. And that's Roy Nissany. He was squiggling all over the place there. Well, the Israeli driver started in position number 8 and has had a very good start, but he's coming under pressure here from Zhou Guanyu. We've seen more drama in this first lap than we saw in the entirety of yesterday's race. And look at the gap now from the front 2. Already 3 seconds ahead of the field. So Roy Nissany in 3rd position behind Kushmaini and Patrick Pasma. Then is Zhou Guanyu, then Pierre-Louis Chauvet in 5th position. Roman Stanek, Roberto Faria, Ayuma Iwasa and David Vidales, with Reese Ushijima completing the top 10. And the silver car there of Roy Nissany. And he has had an action-filled opening lap and a bit, starting from the 4th row of the grid. He's got past Ayuma Iwasa, Roman Stanek, Jahand Darivala. And without seeing a replay, it's hard to know exactly how he did that. But if there was in fact any penalties, we'll be bringing them as soon as we know. That is, of course, the reason I mention that is because that's what happened to Patrick Pasma in 2nd place now, as Stanek makes a move down the inside. The young Czech driver. So, plenty of changes early on, but a big gap now between the first 2 drivers, and then a succession of other drivers from 3rd place onwards. Kushmaini from the Mumbai Falcons team still leads. This is the 3rd place driver, the battle for 3rd, with Zhou Guanyu in 4th position. You can see the gap there. Then with the blue nose car, that is Pierre-Louis Chauvet ahead of Stanek, Faria Iwasa and the rest. And the battle there. Oh, and that is the number 88 car of Amna Al-Kubaisi, and that is certain to bring out the safety car. She was down in 19th position. And so we'll see what happens as we try to get that car moved off the track. Should be plenty of time to get back to racing. Unfortunately, there wasn't when we had a late safety car on yesterday. Patrick Pasma putting the pressure on, as he tried to do to Zhou Guanyu yesterday. And you have to think Pasma is not going to give up his chance for a victory easily here. Very experienced on this circuit. And the man in form coming down the other long straight on the backside of the circuit into turn 10, but not quite close enough. And there, as the cars slowly go past Al-Kubaisi on the track, the gap that Maini and Pasma have built from the rest of the field will, of course, be pretty much erased as they parade around behind the safety car. As the field concertinas up. And pretty short races, just a 30-minute sprint here. But plenty of action on that first lap. And Roman Stanek moved down a few places from 6th all the way down to 9, so he had a bit of an issue just before the safety car came out. That was the major change on that last lap before the cars all slowed right down. So Kushmaini has lost that gap that he and Pasma built up, but he won't mind these laps ticking off because it means there's less chance for Pasma to have a crack. But he will be thinking about the restart right now to see what he can do. He scored points in each of the 3 races in round 3 at Yas Marina. 2 8th places and a 7th place. So a podium position would be dramatically better than that, but he's not going to be satisfied with any podium position. Not after this start. Kushmaini wants the race victory. So if you're just joining us, we are under safety car here in Dubai, and Kushmaini had a gearbox problem at the start of yesterday's race and had to come into the pits. But instead of retiring, he went back out to try to set the quickest lap that he could, because that is how the field was set for the grid for today's race on the fastest lap from yesterday. And he was quicker than every other driver. He started from pole, he got away cleanly into turn 1. Patrick Pasma tried to go past him, but it wasn't to be, and they have stayed 1 and 2. And then the main story behind those leading 2 drivers is the Israeli driver Roy Nassani, who started in 8th position and somehow cut his way up into 3rd place, passing a number of drivers, including Zhou Guanyu, who started from 3rd, and the championship leader Pierre-Louis Chauvet, who started from 4th. Now, another thing to be aware of in this race, all the drivers get 2 sets of competition tyres for the races across the 3 races. So some will have started new tyres for this race, others will have decided to leave that new set of tyres for tomorrow's race. So that is possibly accounting for some of the positions and some of the overtakes that we're seeing here. They'll all start with a fresh set on the first race of the weekend, and then it's just up to team and driver strategy to see whether they want to swap out for race 2 or hold out for race 3. So let's hope, as we go past the 1/3 mark of the race here, that the safety car will be going back into the pit shortly, or we can get back to racing. So Amna Alkabesi actually clashed with Irina Sidorkova, which caused the end for Amna's race. But Sidorkova was able to continue and is in 18th position right now. Well, if you're just joining us, let's take a look at the start again, which was pretty dramatic. And we'll see exactly what happened. So, the top left of your screen, now the bottom right, that is Kushmaini, who pulled over to close the door on Patrick Pasma. And Pierre-Louis Chauvet in 4th position was desperately trying to get... went straight away past Zhou Guanyu. And there's Roy Nassani already up in the grey car, fighting behind those 2. So So that was just a brief clip of the start, with Kushmani staying ahead from pole position into turn 1. So critical here, with the relative few opportunities for overtaking, even though we did see quite a lot of drama on that first lap. So 1 and 2 stayed the same. And then Zhou Guanyu and Pierre-Louis Chauvet had a great tussle for 3rd place. And they've been battling against each other all season long. This is the 11th race, but it's only been a few weeks since the start of the season, all compressed because of the travel restrictions globally. All the drivers come to this part of the world and go to Dubai, and then to Yas Marina, back to Dubai, and back to Yas Marina for 5 consecutive weekends. And it does mean that some of the drivers from the Formula 2 Championship can drop down to here to pick up some points in their quest for the top, and they can still have plenty of time before the F2 season opens in May this year. So Amna Alkabasi's car just being lifted there, looks to be in position. They'll just get that secured, and hopefully within a lap or two we can get back to racing. We'll still have about half of this race remaining. It's the number 13 car of Reese Ushijima. And an incredibly diverse field full of young potential here in the F3 Asian Championship. Referring just to the region in which it races, not where the drivers are from. There are of course plenty of Asian drivers, but lots from Europe as well. And the fact that it has those FIA super license points allocated, 18th for 1st in the championship, 14th for 2nd, 12th for 3rd, and so on, makes it a very attractive proposition for some of the drivers, particularly at this time of the year when there's not a whole lot else going on. They'd be twiddling their thumbs back at home, waiting for their own championships to start. They can come over to the United Arab Emirates for a month and get some great race experience and some super license points if things go according to plan. So there is the safety car, still at the front of the field, followed by this man, Kushmani, from the Mumbai Falcons team. Fellow 20-year-old driver Patrick Pasma is in 2nd place, and Roy Nassani, bit of a veteran at 26, certainly in this field anyway. Not quite the oldest, but almost. Vast majority of these drivers are still in their teenage years, but already many of them lightning quick. A very, very strong field for this year's championship. So Kushmani has kept his advantage at the front of the field. Patrick Pasma 2nd, Roy Nassani starting from 8th position up into 3rd. Then Zhou Guanyu and Pierre-Louis Chauvet, who leads this championship with 181 points. Pretty far ahead, 22 points to be precise, ahead of Zhou Guanyu, the Chinese driver, in 2nd position on 159, who is just 3 points ahead of Jahan Darivala. And that graphic on the screen there is good to see. The safety car is going to be going in very soon. We'll be back to racing. So the drivers will have seen that. Pasma can't, of course, overtake Kushmani until they're back on. Kushmani has control of the field. Everyone will be looking to get a jump. what's going to happen. Can Kushmani keep his lead down this long run into turn 1 as we're back on here in Dubai with less than 14 minutes to go to the end of this race, just over halfway. And Pasma having a look, Runisani right behind them in 3rd position. No change so far in this return to racing. The drivers have completed 6 laps as we come into the 7th here. So a fairly cautious and careful restart here. But all the little mini leads will have to be rebuilt. Kushmani and Patrick Pasma had opened up a pretty significant gap pretty early on, as we see a couple of the drivers battling there, but no change from the top 5. And one position change with pretty significant championship implications is Kushmani's teammate, Jahan Duravala, who is down in 17th place. So he had an issue earlier on. He started in position number 5. And all season long, it's been Duravala who has been the stronger of the 2 teammates, with 3 race wins to his name so far. But today, those fortunes have been absolutely turned on their head. Kushmani, his teammate, still leads here. Started from pole after setting the fastest lap in yesterday's race, got away cleanly at the start of the race, and again 1 lap ago at the restart. Patrick Pasma has him in his sights. Runisani in 3rd position, looking for his first podium of the season, and Pasma is looking to go around the outside, but it's not going to happen now. Can he go around on the inside this time? Side by side here in Dubai, and Pasma has gone through. Well, Kushmani just opened the door there and was caught napping perhaps, and Roy Nassani now right behind the Indian driver, looking to go past him as well. And Zhou Guanyu in 4th position, also closing up. Oh, drama here! It looks like Nassani has taken the Indian driver out, and he spun as well. Wow, it's all happening now. Well, Patrick Pasma was already clear, so he got himself out of that. Roy Nassani, had to be said, is no stranger to action. He is a sometimes controversial driver, and that is the Israeli. Well, he looks like is he shaking his fist there or beckoning for help? Certainly not happy, but I don't think Kushmani's going to be happy either, because it looked on the first play of that the Israeli driver just took him out from the back as they went round that corner. So the top 3 all change, including position number 1. Patrick Pasma had just passed Kushmani to take the lead for what he hopes will be an opening. Now that is a safety car again, of course. So with 10 minutes on the clock, it would be fantastic if we can get back to racing, but it's going to be pretty touch and go here. So Kushmani perhaps having a few words. Hard to know what was said, but I can't imagine he's very happy with the Israeli. Now let's see if we can get a replay of that incident. A dramatic incident with massive implications for the podium positions. Patrick Pasma had just gone past, and here's the incident. As we see the replay, well, Nassani lost control, and as Kushmani turned across him, it looked like Nassani was unable to turn into the corner and just went through the back of Kushmani. Well, the Israeli driver may get a penalty, but that's not going to help Kushmani, who was on course for long stretches of this race for a victory. but then was still very much in podium contention when that all happened. So the drivers not speaking to each other right now, that's for sure. So let's recap where that leaves us. Patrick Pasma from the Evans GP team is currently leading this race. We have 8.5 minutes to go in a safety car. So not clear if we're even going to get back to racing at this point. Zhou Guanyu is in second position and championship leader Pierre-Louis Chauvet is in third. Then David Vidales all the way up into fourth position ahead of Roman Stanek, Reese Ushijima, Alex Connor, Lorenzo Fluxa, Cem Bolok-Bassi and Rafa Villagomez round out the top 10. Then Alessio De Leda, Jahan De Rivala has managed to claw back a few places. Not just from those two who were taken out, but has also moved up as well. But he's still out of the points. He'll be desperate to get back into racing and see if he can at least get into the top 10 to get some points to keep his championship challenge alive. Alexandra Bardinot, the French driver, is in 13th position. Irina Sidorkova in 14th. Khaled Al-Kubaisi in 15th. And Nicola Marinangeli in 16th. So Roberta Furia and Ayuma Iwasa have pitted. So they have some issues. Amna Al-Kubaisi, we know, had that issue earlier on after contact with Sidorkova. And now Kushmaini and Roy Nissany are out of the race. So 5 drivers either out or in the pits, with 16 still on the track, with 7 minutes left on the clock. And Patrick Pasma thought he had a podium finish yesterday. He crossed in 3rd position, but he was penalised for cutting the corners on the opening lap of the race, and he was penalised not by time, which is sometimes the case, but by position. He would drop down 1 spot out of the podium positions into 4th spot. But he had a pretty good race. He had the 2nd fastest time, which is why he lined up on the first row of the grid for today's race. And right now, he's just 6 minutes away from his maiden win here in the F3 Asian Championship. If he had it his way, he'd be taking that checkered flag at full throttle, but it remains to be seen whether he will have the chance to do that, and if the safety car is going to allow us to have a lap or 2 of racing here. Zhou Guanyu will slightly cut the deficit in the championship. If things stay as they are, he will come from 22 points behind Chauvet at the top of the championship standings down to 19 points, so not hugely significant. If Zhou is able to get past Pasma, if we have a restart, so a lot of big ifs here, but it's possible. If Zhou Guanyu is allowed the chance to have a final crack at Patrick Pasma, and if he can get past him, then he would start to eat into that lead that Chauvet has. But with the cars still waiting to be loaded up, it's looking increasingly unlikely. And unfortunately, this is what happened yesterday as well with the car, with the race finishing under safety car. Pierre-Louis Chauvet won yesterday's race, which was his 4th win in the last 5 races, and his 5th win in total. So you feel like he hasn't even had a particularly poor race today, but he's still in the podium positions. That consistency has been huge for the Frenchman. Patrick Pasma trying to keep his tyres warm with the weaving there behind the safety car. He'll be itching to get back on it. Zhou Guanyu just biding his time, waiting to see. And it's tough for the drivers because they have to stay mentally prepared and ready if they get another lap. But it may equally just be academic at this stage. And huge disappointment for Kushmaini, who was taken out there by Roy Nassani. Nothing the Indian driver could have done. And no amounts of apologies or penalties to Nassani, if indeed that is what happens, will make Kushmaini feel any better at all. This was going to be by far his best performance of the season, and after a gearbox issue yesterday, to turn that around and then come back out from the pits in the middle of the race to set the fastest lap and get on pole position for today's race, you just have to feel for the 20-year-old and how his race has ended today. But there is still a chance for him to bounce back tomorrow morning local time for race number 12, the concluding race of the penultimate round. Now we have round number 5, the fifth and final one in Yas Marina next weekend. 3 more races there to complete the F3 Asian Championship. So another lap in the books, and still the safety car is out. So as that time ticks down, this is likely to be how things will finish. So slightly disappointing as always. And in these shorter races, those safety cars are that much more important because they eat up, percentage-wise, a significant chunk of the race. Whereas in those longer races such as F1, you know, you have the safety car and it's still time to get back out. Back to racing. But Patrick Pasma won't mind if that means that he gets the victory here. But we have had a phenomenal amount of action in just about 20 minutes of racing. In fact, maybe less than that with 2 safety cars. Lots happening on the first lap of the race. Then there was contact between the 2 females, Amna Alkabasi and Irina Sidorkova. The Russian was able to continue, and she's currently in 14th position, but out of the points. And then another dramatic incident right after Patrick Pasma had blown past Kushmaini to take the lead here in the race. Kushmaini then was under pressure from the Israeli driver Roy Nassani, and Nassani just took him out, and both drivers have had their races ended prematurely. But that's what happens. So Patrick Pasma now just moments away from taking his first win of the season, the Evans GP driver. And it may be happening as we just complete this lap by the looks of things. So thanks for sticking with us. If you have continued to watch despite this safety car action, Patrick Pasma will win round 11 here of the F3 Asian Championship. Only the 4th new race winner of the season. Zhou Guanyu comes in for 2nd place, and Pierre-Louis Chauvet will still have a pretty sizable lead, 19 points at the top of the championship with his 3rd place finish. But still far from over. With 4 more races, 25 points on offer for each, so another 100 points that Joe or any of these other drivers could bank, at best of course. So for the 2nd time in a row, we will finish under safety car, but you can see Patrick Pasma getting a bit of speed up to take the checker flag at possibly not quite full throttle, but he was pretty happy, wasn't he? Pumping his fist he clearly doesn't mind one bit how he gets the win. Well, it was a good start from the Finn driver and an even better restart. A lap or so into the restart, he then moved past Kushmaini after keeping him in his sights all race long to go into the lead. And just moments later, the Indian driver was taken out of the race by the Israeli Roy Nissany. So Pasma will probably have seen that in his rearview mirrors, but it won't have affected him. He had to stay mentally sharp just in case they were coming back to full-on racing. As it happened, it wasn't to be, but Patrick Pasma had already done the hard work, which started in yesterday's race when he put in the second quickest, fastest lap to get onto the front row of the grid for today's race. Had a good start, wasn't able to go past Kushmaini at the front into turn 1 on lap number 1, but stayed with him throughout, never let him get away. The two of them did open up a bit of a gap early on before the first of 2 safety cars, and then after the restart, that was when Pasma put the pressure back on Kushmaini, and it told. He was just able to go past him, and that is why the number 4 car, in the pretty distinctive turquoise and pink combination, will be picking up 25 points to kickstart his season. Still too far back to really be in the championship discussion. That is still very much between Pierre-Louis Chauvet and Zhou Guanyu at the top, with Jahan Derivala third in the standings, but falling back after finishing out of the points today. And we didn't see what happened to Kushmaini's teammate, but disappointment for both Indian drivers, unfortunately, today. But Derivala had started from position number 5 and then fell way back down the field. So perhaps an issue on the opening lap or later in the race. Was able to make up a few places by the looks of things, but is 2 positions outside the points with his 12th place finish. So he will drop away from the top 2 in this championship. But for today at least, it is Patrick Pasma's day with his first win of the season. He thought he had a podium position yesterday, but was penalised for an incident on lap 1, so he was bumped down from 3rd position to 4th. That would have been his first podium, but today is his first podium, and he'll be on the top step. Zhou Guanyu at the top of the screen, the first driver out of his car. Seems pretty happy with 2nd position, having started from 3rd, but plenty of drama here. And Pasma will stand atop for the celebratory pose. Very good job by the Finn. And we'll see if we can hear from him in a moment's time. And Pierre-Louis Chauvet getting some congratulations from team boss John O'Hara. Then going over to speak to one of his rivals by the looks of things. So we'll see if Ian and Feline are down there to see if we can get a word with Patrick. But confirmation there, just 11 laps able to complete today with 2 safety cars. Don't worry about the times because we finished under safety car, but Zhou Guanyu was in 2nd position, Pierre-Louis Chauvet in 3rd. David Vidales and Roman Stanek, very good performances from those 2 drivers to finish in 4th and 5th respectively. Reese Ushijima in 6th, 16-year-old Alex Connor in 7th position, Lorenzo Fluxa in 8th, Turkish driver Cem Bulukbasi in 9th, and Rafael Villagomez rounding out the points in 10th position ahead of Alessio Deleda and Jahan Derivala. Frenchman Alexandre Bardinon finished in 13th, Irina Sidorkova in 14th, Khaled Alkubasi in 15th, and Nicola Maranghelli, the final car to finish the race and the others all weren't able to cross the line. So if you just joining us, let's have a quick look at some of the highlights from round 11 of the F3 Asian Championship. And Kushmani from pole position got away cleanly. Patrick Pasma in the blue and pink card came up right behind him but wasn't able to go through. Behind them, a good battle between Pierre-Louis Chauvet getting past Zhou Guanyu into third position at this stage, but Zhou Guanyu was able to pull that position back. And then Roy Nassani in the silver car was right in amongst it, and here was the moment. Almost contact there. Roy Nassani in contact. No strangers, those two. And that was the moment where Nassani went up into third place. He passed both Chauvet and Zhou Guanyu. Zhou Guanyu trying to come back there. And another squiggle from the Israeli, but he held on that time. That wasn't to be the last of the action. And Zhou Guanyu again trying to come through. Now that was the first safety car. Amna Alkabasi had contact from the Russian driver Irina Sidorkova. Sidorkova able to continue. Just about the midpoint of the race, that was when the first safety car came out. But we were soon back to racing. The green flag you can see, and Patrick Pasma in second position. Watch him because he's going to pull a move. Under pressure from Nassani behind him, but was able to get past Kushmani to go into the lead. As some battles in midfield there, it was all action. So Patrick Pasma, this is where he took a move. He had a look around one way, then he went to the other side. And side by side they were racing, but Patrick Pasma was able to make that one stick. But it wasn't over there, because right here, as Kushmani was trying to turn into the corner while Roy Nassani was inside him, and it looked like the Israeli just didn't turn. And then the two came together, Nassani spun, and some violent gesturing there of some description. But this was how it finished, with Patrick Pasma, the Finn, getting his first win of the season from Zhou Guanyu in second and Pierre-Louis Chauvet in third. And if you just stay with us, we will be able to hear from the drivers to get some of their thoughts. And the highlight of this race weekend is the 4 Hours of Dubai in the Asian Le Mans Series. Plenty of other race series here, in addition to the F3 Asian Championship. Disappointment for Kushmani, but his brother Arjun racing in the Asian Le Mans Series. Now, we can hear from the second place driver, China's Zhou Guanyu, to hear his thoughts on today's race.
Guanyu Zhou, difficult race with the safety car, but now we're coming down to a real fight for the championship.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my main focus was, make sure Chauvet was staying behind. Obviously, he passed me lap 1, and I managed to send a dive through turn 12, I think. Yeah, I made the move stick, even though I lose the position, but the main key is to keeping behind. And after I saw, the top 3 after safety car race, I was getting a little bit bunched up, and yeah, managed to, to stay away. And I saw that crash coming before they entered the corner. So, yeah, really happy to pick up P2 here. It's good for the points at the end.
Thank you, Guanyu.
Thank you.
And you can see the Chinese driver absolutely intensely aware of the championship standings. He knew that wherever he finished, he had to finish ahead of Pierre-Louis Chauvet. And we'll get back to the standings in a moment, but let's hear from Patrick Pasma, our race victor, who is down in Parc Fermé with Ian. Let's hear what Patrick has to say.
Patrick Pasma, huge congratulations. You become the 4th different winner of the Formula 3 Asian Championship. Undoubtedly the best move we've seen for the race lead in the series. That won you the race.
Yes, well, yeah, I'm really happy to score a victory, and also it's the first one for the team, so I'm really happy
that we could score this victory for the team. And yeah, we had some tough battle with Maney, and shame he had some contact with the other driver, but yeah, I'm really happy.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Patrick Pasma from Finland, 20 years old, and now a race winner in the F3 Asian Championship. As Ian mentioned, just the 4th new winner we've had in 11 races here. Pierre-Louis Chauvet has won 5 of those races and still leads this championship by 19 points. And let's hear what Pierre-Louis has to say. He's back down there with Ian.
On the podium once again, it is PLC in car 3, Pierre-Louis Chauvet. Not the victory, but valuable points for the championship as we go down to the wire.
Yeah, thank you. For sure, for the moment, I only did 5 wins and no other podiums, let's say no P3 or P2. So that's my first P3, and I'm not losing too much points to Zhu, so only 3 points. So it's quite okay. It was a decent race, nice start. And then tough battle with Zhu, but nice. Really happy about that.
Thank you, Pierre-Louis Chauvet.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Pierre-Louis Chauvet, the 3rd place finisher today, but he remains the championship leader by 19 points from China's Zhou Guanyu. 3rd position is Jahan Daruvala, who finished out of the points today. And huge disappointment for his Mumbai Falcons teammate Kushmayani, who lost the top of the spot late on in this race after contact with Roy Nassani. That was the main drama. But they'll be back tomorrow for round 4, race 3, the 12th race of this season. Join us again then. See you soon.